Welcome to Jordan with Coffee. My name is Jordan. Here's my coffee. And it's not hot. I can drink that whenever I want. I'm going to drink it again. Oh man, that's great. It's currently 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's like 80 degrees out, and I didn't want to have a hot coffee. So I decided to make iced coffee, and it's a lot better. It's a lot more enjoyable. I think I'm going to start drinking iced coffee while I record podcasts more often, or like all the time, because fun fact, whenever I talk on podcasts, whenever I record episodes, like my past 2 episodes, I've been drinking hot coffee, and I've always wanted to just like occasionally just sip it like very frequently, but it would be hot, so I couldn't, and I would just kind of like wait until like, all right, this is kind of a perfect time to drink my coffee, and it'd always be hot. But with iced coffee, I could drink whatever. So, iced coffee, the new meta for Jordan with Coffee. Get excited for it. It's not going to matter to you. It sounds the same. Hot coffee sounds like iced coffee. So, it's episode 3. It would be episode 4 today, but I didn't record an episode last week. Sorry if you were looking forward to that. If you were looking forward to that, thank you for looking forward to it, because I don't know who looks forward to these episodes aside from my friends. And when I found out that my friends like actually genuinely listened to my podcast, it made my heart melt. We all got together a couple weeks ago, and my friends were all making fun of my podcast, like in very, not like in a negative way, just like, oh yeah, like I was listening to this podcast called Jordan with Coffee, you know, it was all right. They kept referencing things that I said in the episodes, and it signified like they actually listened to the episode. So that made me really happy. So some people are listening, even if they are my best friends. Thank you. If you are listening, whether you're my best friend, just my friend, an acquaintance, or I don't know you at all, thank you. So again, I didn't record last week for 2 reasons. Number 1, I worked essentially every day except one day. And then that one day I had something to do. So that was that. Whenever I would come home from work, I would just be too tired or too hungry to record an episode, or my family would be home. And that's the second reason why I didn't record an episode last week, is because typically during the week, my family isn't home during the day because they have jobs. My mom goes to work, my stepdad goes to work, and my 2 siblings, they go to daycare/school respectively, and I have the house to myself until I work. And last week that didn't happen, unbeknownst to me, because typically my mom works from home 3 times a week, but she decided to work home every day last week. So I didn't have an empty house to record in. And I know that, I could have just recorded with her in the house, but I would have just felt really weird because I don't like talking to myself knowing that other people can hear me talk to myself, if that makes sense. Because I feel weird because I feel like I'm being listened to. I feel like I'm being watched. So at least in this house, the only person watching me is my dog, and she's on the couch right now, and she doesn't even know that I'm recording something. So she just thinks I'm being psychotic. So that is the reason why I didn't record last week. Originally, I wasn't going to record this week either, because yesterday I was expecting to record, but I came downstairs and my mother was home because she was working from home, unbeknownst to me again. But then today, I got up for work and she wasn't home, so I just thought she was running an errand. And then I got home from work like a couple hours later and she wasn't home. And I asked her where she was, and she said she went to the office today. So with that, I am now recording an episode today, which is great because I didn't know I was going to be doing this morning. In the next couple of weeks, I'll be going back to school, going back to UMass Dartmouth. Go Corsairs, what's up? And I'm really looking forward to it, mainly because I want to see my friends. I have just been in this house by myself, essentially, with my own thoughts. And yeah, I've seen my friends from school, like, occasionally and, like, not frequently. Some of them, like, more frequent than others. But I'm just excited to be in a space together, like, on a consistent basis. If you don't know, me and my 3 friends are all living together in an apartment on campus at UMass Dartmouth. And we've been planning this since freshman year. And we're all going into our senior year. And this would have happened last semester, but things just did not work out in our favor. So, freshman year, me and my 3 friends I've said their names, so like, you know what, no confidentialness, whatever. Me, Mike, Johnny, Sawyer, we all decided we should get an apartment together junior year. But that meant sophomore year, we would just kind of like do whatever our own thing. So sophomore year, Mike and Johnny lived in a sophomore dorm in one building, and in another building, I lived with a bunch of art students because they were looking for a suite, and a suite was this like private hallway off the main hallway with like 4 rooms and 2 bathrooms, like to yourself. So it was me and like 9 other art students, and you know, I got along with them, so I didn't mind. They needed a 10th person, and I was the only guy that was available, so I decided to do it. And it was a good time, but I wasn't really in my room a lot during sophomore year, mainly because I was just always in Mike and Johnny's room because they were my friends, and I wanted to spend time with them and hang out with them whenever. And nothing against the people I lived with sophomore year. Like, they were great, loved them. We just had different interests, and that was that. So then, that was sophomore year. Then fast forward to the end of sophomore year, where we have to pick rooms. And how we picked rooms, or how we do pick rooms at UMass, is based on how many credits you have, you get a lottery number. And the lower your lottery number, the better chances. So like 1 is like the best number, whereas like I think like 2,000 or like something in the thousands is the worst number. So when lottery time came, we all like figured out like, all right, like this person has the best number. So it was out of the 4 of us, me, Mike, Johnny, Sawyer, one of us had like the better number. And we had to figure out, like, all right, what apartment do we want to get? Now, when we were looking at apartments, we were deciding, like, all right, we obviously want to be the closest to, like, the educational buildings as possible. So that way, like, the walk is shorter. So that way we have more time to get ready. And we don't have to, like, you know, give ourselves 20 minutes to walk to the buildings. We ideally want to live as close as possible, but we knew that wasn't happening because of our high lottery number. And it wasn't bad, but like we knew that we would have to like get the scrapes, like the scrapings. Is it scrapping? Is it scrapings? Scrapings. The scrapings. Scrapping sounds stupid. We would get the scrapings of whatever was left of the apartments. The time comes for our time slot, and it's like towards the end. I should probably talk about times. So there would be a time slot for like every couple numbers. So like it'd be like, all right, 1 to 1,000, your time slot is this day at 7 a.m. 1,001 to 2,000, your time slot is like 10 a.m. that day. You know, stuff like that. Very basic, very simple, very chaotic, because everyone just like would get on as soon as possible and just pick a room. So when we picked rooms, or when we got to the like selection, there were no empty apartments available. And how apartments work, most apartments had 4, some had 2. So when we were picking, we wanted to pick a completely empty apartment with, you know, 4 empty rooms, and then we all get in, obviously. But we didn't realize that some people weren't doing what we did and weren't getting, you know, a group of 4 together. They would either get a group of 3 or a group of 2 or themselves. Like, for instance, person A and person B would, like, you know, say, oh, let's live together. But they wouldn't get a person C or D to get a full apartment together. So person A and B would just pick any apartment with 2 rooms, even if it were empty. So person A and B would like get a completely empty apartment, and then those 2 empty rooms would just be, you know, for whoever. But that would screw over people with like groups of 3 or 4, or specifically groups of 4, aka my group of people. So we didn't realize that at the time, but we were like, you know, like, all right, we'll take what we can get. Now, we were discussing, like, what types of rooms we should get. Like, should it be 2nd floor, 3rd floor, 4th floor, 1st floor? Johnny was the only one who wanted the 1st floor. And I'm going to have Johnny on the podcast at some point, maybe the next couple of weeks or so, because we're going back to school. He states that when we were looking at the selections that we had, there was an empty apartment on the 1st floor. Now, I disagree. I don't remember there being one. I don't recall there being one. So I think he's lying. But we'll have that argument when it comes. So we didn't want a 1st floor apartment, mainly because in every apartment there is a giant window that, you know, you can have like a decent view of whatever. But on the 1st floor, the windows go all the way from like the floor to like halfway to like the ceiling. So that means people couldn't just walk up to your window and just look in your apartment if you don't have the curtains closed. And it would, like, me, Sawyer, and Mike obviously didn't want that. We didn't want people to just look through. But Johnny was like, no one's gonna look through. And his one argument for wanting a first floor apartment was higher ceilings. That's it. That was the only argument he had. And he was so convinced that like that was like the prime luxury of a first floor apartment. We didn't budge. So we all were like, all right, we'll get a second floor, third floor, fourth floor, whatever. Ideally, we wanted the second floor, so that way we wouldn't have to climb all the stairs. So second floor was like the goal. So we're looking at the selection for second floor and above. There were no completely empty apartments, but there was one apartment with 3 empty rooms and 1 occupied room. So that means that one asshole, and at the time he was an asshole, but we got to know the guy, so he's not an asshole anymore. But at the time, this one asshole picked a completely empty apartment by himself and took a room and screwed groups of 4, aka my group. So we were very frustrated with that. So what we ended up doing was that me, Mike, and Johnny, we all took the remaining rooms and we had Sawyer pick a room as close to our room as possible for 2 possible reasons. Reason 1 is that, you know, if we could get this 4th guy to switch rooms with Sawyer, then it'd be an easier move for him, and we'd obviously help him move. And we were even willing to pay him. We were willing to pay this 4th stranger money, real money, to move out of this apartment, so that way he cannot be around us and be annoyed by us, and we can just all be annoying together, and he can, you know, be his, you know, isolated self. So that was that was like the prime plan. The second reason we wanted Sawyer so close to us is that way if, you know, this guy doesn't want to move, Sawyer's just really close to us and just conveniently come to our apartment whenever. So at the time, when we picked this room, we emailed this guy, asking him, hey, would you want to switch? Because the only way we could access him, we could like contact him through the time was email. That's all we had. He didn't reply, like, for a while. I think, like, 3 weeks he didn't reply. And, like, we understood at the time that, you know, it was like, finals week. Maybe he's just, like, a very busy person, so maybe he has no time to, like, check up on his emails all the time. But it was a school email. So, like, if he's getting emails from his professor, he'll see an email from a random person, a.k.a. me. Didn't reply, so I emailed him again. No reply. This went on for, like, that whole summer. That whole summer, I was just constantly trying to email him, just like, hey, do you want to switch? Hey, can you reply? Like, if he said no, obviously, like, we would respect his wishes, respect his decision, and just let things go as they were. But he wasn't giving me an answer. So I didn't know if, like, we had a chance or if we didn't have a chance. So I just, like, yeah, I'm just going to, like, constantly ask him if he wants to until he gives me an answer. Eventually, he replies saying, hey, send me the paperwork that I need to fill out, and we'll see what we can do. And we were all ecstatic that we were all going to, like, you know, we had a chance to live together. And then I took a semester off. I took a semester off for financial reasons, and just so I can just, like, save money and not spend so much money. So what ended up happening was Sawyer took my room, because I obviously wasn't living on campus at the time. And all of last year, they lived with this guy. And I visited them a lot, so I got to know him. And he's a really cool guy, very polite, very nice. And once I went back to UMass this past spring, I lived in an apartment 2 doors down from their apartment. So, like, I was there in the apartment all the time. And initially it was just funny because I was in this apartment with a guy who didn't reply to my emails for a while. And I was, like, essentially annoying him and, like, begging him to switch. But he ended up being nice. He ended up being a very polite guy. He was very, like, nice and considerate, considering, like, the shit we did in that apartment. Like, we just constantly had people, like, not even just me. Like, it wasn't just me there a lot. Like, we had a lot of people in there, like, at all times. Like, it'd be, like, my friends, significant others, and, like, our friends. And, like, I think we had yeah, we had a giant like theater show like project going on in the apartment. And like he like we told him ahead of time, he's like, yeah, sure. It was so absurd. And he's graduated now, and he's probably off doing great things. So now we finally have the apartment together, and it's gonna be great. And I'm excited because I hope to have some of my friends, if not all my friends, on the podcast at least once during the school year, because I hope it'll be more fun for you guys to listen to it, because I'll admit, I feel like listening to one person talk to themselves can get boring. Like, I'll admit that. Like, I prefer podcasts with more than one person, like, talking at a time. And also, it'll be more fun for me to record. Not that it's not fun at all right now. Like, I'm having a lot of fun talking to myself just, like, in my house and just kind of, like, getting my thoughts out. But I'll be excited to talk to people and, like, have conversations. And I hope that you all think my friends are as funny as I think they are, because they are hilarious. I love my friends. Like, their humor is beyond me. And that's why I'm super, super excited to go back to school and just, have a good time. And I'm excited because I'm also going to not work as much. I've been working a lot, like, this whole summer. And it's all been, like, very volunteer-wise, because, you can obviously not work during the summer. That's not a good thing, but you could not work for an entire summer. That's the thing. What I mean by volunteer is that my availability was all day, every day. And it benefited my bosses because, like, they could schedule me whenever they wanted to, and I would go in without any complaint. But what I also did was, whenever they needed help and they would ask me to come in, I would just say yes anyway and just go in. Even if I was just, like, tired or just not in the mood to work, I would go in anyway. And I got busy the entire summer because of that. And only now is it, like, starting to hit me that, like, I'm burning out, like, a lot. My body is, like, slowly realizing that, one, it's burning out. Two, it burnt out, like, a month ago. And, like, it should take a break. But I have, like, 2 weeks left before school starts. So actually, was it a couple days ago, I was talking to my boss while I was on my break, and I told her, look, next week is my last full week before I go back to school. You have permission to kill me with hours. And she actually did, because next week I think I'm working 35 hours, which I've been working, like, that much, like, this entire summer on a weekly basis, but it was mostly just, like, going in so much. But now that it's scheduled, like, it feels overwhelming, but it's literally the same. It's literally, like, no different than what I've been doing all summer. So I'm excited to work. I am excited to just pass out at some point, because eventually my body's gonna be like, yeah, you can't fold this many shirts in this amount of time. You need to take a break. But I guess that's what school's for, where I can just kind of focus on, my classes and hang out with my friends. I can focus on that, and that'll be relaxing for me. That'll be my version of a break from work. And I probably should give myself time off, but it's too late for that. Like, before this summer, whenever I would go back to school, I would give myself, like, a week off. So that way I can prepare for school, like, get everything ready, buy everything I need, or just mentally, like, prepare myself and just relax. But my last day is on a Monday from work, and then I move in the next day on Tuesday. And in hindsight, probably should have done that, because I don't need time to pack. Like, I know what to pack, I know what I need, but I also just need time to not do anything, because, again, my body is just very, very, like, stressed. My body's very stressed. I'm, like, cramping everywhere. I think my back is hurting. Actually, I just got home from work, like, a couple hours ago, and during work, my neck was just in so much pain. And I thought it was because I'm just burnt out and just, like, not in the mood to work. But really, I remember I just slept on my neck awfully. During my shift, I was just, like, cranking my neck in very, like, weird ways. And I was just, like, kind of, like, hoping customers wouldn't see, but I didn't really care if they saw. Because, like, I was just cracking my neck, like, all day. Actually, okay. I don't know if that caught on the mic, but hopefully it did. Oh, That feels great. I've always wanted to see like a chiropractor, like those doctors that like know how to crack your neck and like your joints in like a great way, and like it feels reinvigorating. Like I love that shit. I love seeing those videos where just like the doctor is just like rubbing someone's neck, like relaxing it, and then just twisting it in a way, and you just hear like so many like bubbles pop in the neck, and it's so it's therapeutic watching it. I can't imagine how it feels when it's on you. Like, I want to do it, but I'm also scared because I've heard horror stories where people go to it and like they go to like, you know, a not great doctor, and like their neck is like turned in such a way for like the rest of their life, and like, you know, they're always looking left or right or whatever. So that's like a fear in the back of my head, but also it looks super cool. Like, there's so many things that I want to do, but also like there's the obvious fear of doing it. Like, I really want to skydive because like skydiving is it's a cool thing to do from what people tell me. But, you know, there's a fear that like, you know, your parachute won't deploy and you'll just fall on the ground and die. Like that's just a possibility. It's a very slim chance because, you know, there's so many safety precautions to ensure that doesn't happen, but it's still possible. And because it's still possible, people don't do it. But, you know, everyone recommends like doing stuff that can like, you know, make you fearful. But, you know, sometimes it's good to listen to people and sometimes it isn't because, you know, what are you, some normie? I use that term a lot. Like, I call my friend that a lot, and it got to the point where like I was saying it so much that like even I realized like, wow, like I'm just being a dick. I try really hard not to be a normie. Like, I would call myself like a very hipster. I don't like things because other people don't like things, or I like things because people don't like them, or I don't like them because that whole like weird hipster dynamic. But like, I like what I like, and if people don't know about it or don't like it, I kind of like it more, I guess. Me liking things isn't because people don't like it. I like things, and if people just so happen to not enjoy what I like or not know what I like, then I like it more because it's very obscure, very indie. I like indie things. Like, I like hole-in-the-wall restaurants because, like, you know, no one knows about it, and like it's like a gem that only I know about, and like I go to it, and it's really cool because like I can show my friends, I can go like, hey, let's go to this place, like this hole in the wall, like let's go here, and because like, oh, like this is a great place, and they all have a good time, like, oh wow, good showing that. I like that. I like putting people on things, you know. I listen to a lot of lo-fi. Shocker. 3 episodes in, I'm talking about lo-fi. Like, I like lo-fi a lot, and I like putting my friends on like lo-fi music because lo-fi is very relaxing music for me. And, you know, when people like, oh, like I want to like relax, like what's the song that I should listen to, I immediately like, it's like, all right, this song is great. I like putting people on things because it kind of like proves that I have good taste. Like, I strive to have good taste in things, and if I don't have good taste in things, I immediately change my taste, because even if, you know, no one likes what I like or like my suggestion, if one person likes it because of me, I will remember that forever. If there's a song, like, what was it? There was one instance where I showed my friends a song and only one of them liked it. The rest hated it. The rest absolutely hated it. But one friend like, yeah, I like this. And like, that's it. That's all I need for clarification that I have good taste. If you don't know, the song is Blonde Boys. Blonde Boys by Syndigo. Great song. Highly recommend. Yeah, I'm drinking my coffee right now. All jokes aside, I do like having a very different and unique taste in music, because I feel like, and this is just going to sound very cliche, but like I feel like all music is the same right now. Like, all the radio music is all the same. It's all like pop stuff, and that's totally fine. I like some of the radio stuff, but I like putting people on like very indie music, because, you know, like it furthers their horizons. It furthers their taste in music. And like that's something I like doing. I like furthering not just my taste in music, but everyone else's taste in music. Even if they, are iffy on it, like, all right, I still put you on this, and you may not like it, but you gave it a shot, and that's all that matters. And it's like that stuff that I like doing. I love like just making playlists of music, and I love creating things around music. Like one of the things I always liked doing in high school and like first couple of years of college was like just making music videos, like just making videos to like songs. And it was just like, it's simple, but it made things fun because you could do anything, but like you don't have to write a script. You can just like play music and just record stuff based on that. It's great because I think I did that with a couple of songs. Most of them were Joji. I love Joji so much. Did I talk about Joji? I totally talked about Joji last time. I'm sorry. I love Joji a lot. I actually just his EP came in the mail for me. I bought the vinyl. I don't know why I bought the vinyl. I bought the vinyl because one, it's Joji, and two, it was like, oh, it's a limited edition. Get it. And like, okay, I have to get it. It's a limited edition. Very cool album. EP. It's an album. I'll call it an album just for the sake of it because I'm not going to remember EP. It's a nice album, but I haven't had the chance to listen to it on vinyl because I don't own a record player. Which you think it'd be fine. Like, all right, yeah, you bought like one vinyl, but like it's your favorite artist, whatever. I have 3 vinyls. I have 3 vinyls of different albums, and I have no record player to play them on. I think the reason why I buy these things on vinyl because I like vinyl. I like the impressiveness. Like, okay, you actually bought this giant like CD, and you can play whenever you want. Yes, I intended on getting a record player at some point. That'll be great decor in my apartment room. But I like buying physical music for songs or albums that like I especially like. Yes, most of my music is consumed through Spotify, like streaming service. But whenever there's like albums that like I really like and I want to support the artists, I will buy like the physical album. And I think I did that. I've done that for a couple of ones. I did that for Capital Cities from the Safe and Sound. The guys who sang Safe and Sound. You know that song. Great song. I bought that album. I bought the Walk the Moon Talking is Hard album because I love Shut Up and Dance. That's my favorite song from like 2016 or whenever the hell it was out. And at my first concert ever, I bought the vinyl of the opener of the band I went to go see. I recently went to my first concert back in May or end of April, one of those two. I saw Frankie Cosmos, great band, very indie band. Obviously, I like indie bands. Advertised with this opener. I forgot the name because I didn't really care for them. Nothing against them, but I just like, it's fine. But what they didn't advertise Facebook page or like any like event page is that they had an opener for the opener for Frankie Cosmos. And the opener for the opener was this band called Kid Mountain. And it's just like 4 guys, and they were all just like wearing like khakis and white shirts, and they were just killing it, and it was just so fun. And they were just like, "What's up for Kid Mountain? Like, we're a non-profit band." And when they said they were a non-profit band, I was like, "What do you mean? What do you mean you're non-profit? Like you play music to make a profit? Yes, silly." But you're saying like, "Yeah, we're a non-profit. We're selling our shirts for $5. Shirts for $5. Band merch for $5 is absurd." Not like. Once I heard that, I was like, yeah, I have to get a shirt. I have to try and support these guys. And at the end of the show, I bought like merch from Frankie Cosmos, but then I went to the Kid Mountain like merch stand, and it was just the band. Like they were just selling their own merch, which is great. Like they're just not that well known. Actually, like let me look up how many like monthly listeners they have on Spotify. They are on Spotify, which is great because I love listening to their music while I'm driving. Yeah, they have, so that's not bad. They have 1,209 monthly listeners on Spotify, and they're verified. So, like, they're kind of up there, and, they're a really good band, honestly. But it was just the band selling the merch, and, like, I walk up to the guy, I'm like, dude, you guys are great. Like, holy shit, I want to support you guys. What can I do? He's like, oh, dude, we got shirts for $5. Buy the CD for this. And I was like, all right, dude, can I get both? And it's like, I wanted to buy the shirt and the CD. He's like, all right, that was $7. I'm like, can I give you $8? Like, I want to give you some profit. I want to support you in any way possible because, like, this band was amazing. And he was, yeah, sure. Okay, you give $8. You get a vinyl. What? $8 for a t-shirt, a CD, and a vinyl. That doesn't add up, like, at all. And, like, I guess they were, like, very unprepared for me being so supportive and wanting to support them. So I didn't have any cash, because who carries cash on them? Actually, I had cash, but I bought drinks for me and my friend at the concert, so I didn't have any cash. And I was like, can I Venmo you? And they're like, all right, Venmo the bass guy. And I was just talking to the bass guy. So I had to add the bass player on Venmo, and then Venmo him $8, and then confirm it with my bank. And then I just had all this merch. And it was honestly like a great experience for a first concert. I've been wanting to go to a concert for, since I was a teenager. But again, this goes back to being interested in very different and unique music from everyone else. No one wanted to go to concerts with me because I would say, like, hey, want to go to this band's concert? And they were like, who's this band? I don't want to spend money on that. And I was like, all right, that's fine. But I found someone... Actually, no, I didn't even want to go. I had no idea about this concert up until the day of. Because my friend M, they wanted to go to this concert, and Em and Johnny are dating, but Johnny didn't want to go. So I was like, I'll go. And it was just a great time. And it was just super fun. And I'm excited to go to future concerts. I'm actually going to another concert next month. It's next month. Oh my god, I'm super excited now. I'm going to go see Jukebox the Ghost with Mike and his girlfriend Mal. And Jukebox the Ghost is, again, another band that you should all listen to, because Jukebox the Ghost, it's weird because they're mainstream, but I don't know anyone else aside from my friend group that listens to them. Like, they have over 400,000 listeners on Spotify a month. They've been on Conan. They were on Conan, like, this past summer. And I don't know anyone that, like, listens to them aside from, like, the people that I listen to them with. Which, it's stuff like that like, confuses me. Like, they're very mainstream. But no one that I know knows them. So, I don't know. I guess that's whatever. But I'm really excited for that. It's great because now I have friends to go to just very, like, off the wall or, like, off the grid concerts with. And I'm really excited for that because, again, I don't like going to, like, main concerts because they're very expensive. They're more of a show than, like, a concert. And which is fine. Like, I've been to shows before, but I like going to concerts for the sake of, like, listening to the music and everything. The first show I went to, or like I remember going to, was Blue Man Group. Blue Man Group's great. I think it was like my parents took me for my 18th birthday, and it was so weird that I loved it. And, like, I guess that's just me. That's how I interpret anything. It's like, if it's weird, I like it. That's just that. I think with that, I am going to end this episode because I have nothing else to talk about. I've talked about everything I wanted to. I think I was... Oh, right, I was. I told Johnny that the next episode I record would be more scripted. Not scripted, but, like, have an agenda. And I did have an agenda, but I got to the first two things on my agenda, and then I just kind of rambled, and then I didn't talk about that thing or that thing or that thing. But we'll talk about that later. Next time I will have an agenda because, again, I know I ramble a lot because this is all new to me still, but, I still want to, have a cohesive podcast and not have one where, like, it's just, me jumping from story to story. With that, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe to SoundCloud or YouTube, whichever way you're listening. If you do both, thank you so much. If you don't do either, that's fine. Thank you for listening anyway. With that, thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.